Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing very well. I'm glad you had some time to speak with me today.
What are you saying?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad you had some time to speak with me today. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, yeah. Is this your the shirt you use on your debates against Israel?
Yeah, something like that. I've never worn it outside my house, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, well. So how are you doing? Is-
Things are going pretty well. I just went back to the gym and worked out for the first time in forever. So happy. So it's a good day. How's your day?
Was long. It's 11 p.m. here in Israel.
Boy, yeah, I can imagine. That's definitely late for me. So I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, well,
Um,
it's not easy, but I'd like to do that so too, because yet I have a daughter and she's pretty, it's hard to raise children and have some time for for hobbies and you know
I can imagine.
yeah.
I don't have any children myself, but
You don't?
um, no, no.
Well, hopefully soon.
Yeah, one day, right?
Yeah, well. Okay, so we're here to talk about Israel and America, no?
Yes. The thesis of my argument is that America does not benefit from the special Israeli relationship, and I think that's really the best way for someone who lives in the United States to approach this argument because I might have a friend who he doesn't they might not understand why this is important to me, and then I explain to them how much money the $4.9 billion a year, and then all of a sudden they seem to think that what I'm saying is important because there's so much bias on the topic. Um, so I have five or six reasons that, in general, that I'll go ahead and throw out at you for my conclusion that this special relationship is not good for the United States and United States taxpayers.
Okay.
The money is used for an illegal occupation. The occupation is illegal under international law, and I believe that's a valid argument because the United Nations and United States established Israel to begin with. So when they condemn what they're doing, I think that's a very valid argument. There's also Israel has also developed nuclear weapons in secret, and the Pentagon has confirmed that this is true. And there are several intelligence
Clearly,
reports
it's
that
not a
can be
secret if
cited.
they know that, but okay.
Well, in the debate last week, the person said that it was kind of an open secret, but that it didn't really matter. So and that hadn't been confirmed. So I wanted to be sure to mention that it has
Israel
been
has
confirmed.
never confirmed that information, but whatever. Okay, I'll.
But I'll share an article after the debate's finished that says the Pentagon has confirmed it.
Pentagon, yes, but Israel did not. But whatever. Yeah. Okay, go.
They didn't do what?
What are you saying?
Uh, what didn't they do?
They didn't. I mean, Israel has never admitted that we have nuclear weapons. I don't know if we have. We might have. We might not. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I believe the Pentagon.
Okay.
um, there's also been false premise for the U.S. to enter several foreign wars on Israel's behalf, Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as Iran and Syria. And there have been it's confirmed that Israel has participated in false flag attacks. The most well known are the Lavon affair, when the king.
Sorry.
Are you familiar with the Lavon affair?
No.
Okay, well, it was a long time ago, but basically the King David Hotel was bombed and blamed on the Egyptians.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. I do know. I just didn't know the English name for that. Yeah. Okay, then.
But even more importantly, though, in 1967, during the uh, infamous war where the Palestinian land was confiscated, you attacked the United States and tried to blame it on Egypt as well, and that has also been confirmed.
Excuse me, what? We attacked the United States?
Yes, you attacked the USS Liberty. It was a naval ship conducting an intelligence operation, and it has been confirmed. You're not familiar with that?
No, but I don't think it matters in the case of the 6 Days War, but whatever. Okay.
Well, I think it does matter because you try to blame it on Egypt.
No, nobody blames that for on Egypt. Everybody knows that there was very firm intelligence information saying that Israel is about being attacked. So
Well, the 1967 war is another topic. In the case of the USS Liberty, you attacked the USS Liberty, and it really couldn't even defend itself. It was an intelligence ship. They waved at you. They saw your planes and waved at you, and then you started shooting them, and you even machine gunned their lifeboats.
So what you're saying here, I mean, regarding all what you said, is that America, I mean, the United States, doesn't benefit from special relations with Israel, right? And yet,
Yeah.
America's continuing to fund Israel. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't see why us continuing to fund them would justify it.
Well,
Make a lot of sense.
as the first superpower of the free world, America sees Israel as an ally, a country that shares its values in the savage region as the Middle East, and I think that Israel is the Eastern Army base of the American Army. American Army and American government uses a lot of Israel's intelligence in order to control the region, which it needs to. So, I mean,
well, that's kind of a non sequitur argument because you're not really answering why it was okay to attack the USS Liberty and kill those Americans today, kill those Americans in the 1967 war. You're not really telling me why that's okay. And
I know that what I know. I mean, look, what I know is war is a chaos. Okay, what happens in war can happen. I mean, it can run out of control. And
I do understand that. That's why I think it's important to say that I just don't like funding it because I don't want to go invade Israel, and I don't think that people who already live there, who've already settled there, I don't think they should have to leave or anything like that. I just don't see why I should have to pay for this.
Well, Israel, I mean, for me, is what you're saying is that Israel doesn't need any funding from other countries. If America needs to stand for its interests regarding Israel, and they want to pay, and clearly they do want to pay. It's not like Israel's demanding that money. They pay for something. They don't pay for nothing. Okay, America uses a lot of Israel's infrastructure here in the Middle East, which is, as you can see now, is out of control. This is the only place in the whole region that America can control, can use, and that's why I think that the government does decide to fund Israel for some reasons. I don't know what their specific reasons are. Is that what I'm saying is that Israel shares the same values as the United States.
Well, I really don't know why we fund it either. So you're not really answering my question. And as far as this sharing a military base and all that, we have bases all over the Middle East, and you're really starting the story in the middle because I don't know why else we would need to be there. And the example I'll give is Muhammad Atta, the lead 9/11 hijacker. He listed the primary reason that he attacked us that day is the Israeli-Arab conflict, and that's not refutable. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is
Are you kidding me? Seriously, man?
yes,
Do you
that's
think
true. And
really
also, when we found
Palestinian
anthrax, it
conflict
said death
is
to
the
America and
reason?
death to Israel.
Do you really think that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which you call a conflict, but it's not really, it's just regional, whatever it is, it's, do you think that's the reason for the jihad in the whole world? Seriously?
Well, I know that's why Muhammad Atta attacked. That's what he said.
Well, that they just try to find reasons to attack. It's about jihad. You're a kafir for them. They want to kill you, and they just want to justify this. It has nothing to do with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. They would.
Now you're just going ad hominem. You're attacking these people based on their character. I don't understand why they'd want to harm me.
Neither.
I grew up and I knew both Israelis and I knew both Iranians, and they both seemed like really nice people to me.
Yeah, I know a lot of Iranians too, and they're really nice people. It has nothing to do with the people. It's about the government. What I'm saying is your thesis.
Exactly. That's my point.
Well,
go ahead.
What your thesis is about the debate here is that America doesn't benefit from special relations with Israel. What I'm saying is it has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with the values that Israel shares with the United States in the region. America needs to control the region here in the Middle East, and it wouldn't be so easy for America to control the region without an ally that it can rely on in every situation. Israel is an ally of the United States. America wants Israel to be strong. It doesn't want to be attacked by countries that do not share the American values, the Western values. So that's why it does benefit, and that's why I'm sure part of the reasons that America does decide to fund Israel for some reasons. I'm sure that there are some specific more reasons about the funding or whatever, but I'm sure that America does also fund other countries that, for some other reasons. But for Israel, that's what I think it is.
Well, you're still not answering my question.
What is it?
You're not explaining to me why I should pay for this. Just because you really are starting. And as far as this thing with terrorism goes, you're starting the story in the middle. And I've already said, why would we need to be there in the first place? Because we're already getting along with these countries fine. We didn't have Syria, for example, was the safest place in the world 20 years ago.
Well,
Syria is the safest place in the world.
It's not anymore, but whatever.
It's because of these interventions, and the U.S. does not need to be involved. We need to put the big stick down. There's no reason for me to go hold a gun to someone's head because they don't have the same values that I do. Morally, I think that's something that I would value, that someone doesn't have the same values as me, so I need to understand their values and appreciate them. I don't try to force my values on people.
I agree with that. It's just that America has the honor to be the first superpower, the strongest country, and the most powerful country in the world. And with that thing comes the responsibility to balance the whole world situation, all the conflicts. You need to be involved. You don't need to stick your nose in every conflict that there is on Earth, but you need to fight to choose your wars and your conflicts so that you do want to be involved in. And Israel is part of them because of the region, not because of the conflict of the Palestinians and Israelis. It's just because of the region that is located in.
You're not really telling me why I need to be there. And you know what? In 1996,
you need to fund Israel. No, I'm not saying. Your government thinks that this is the way to reach the goals in the Middle East through funding the superpower. I mean, the country that it wants to be strong. And clearly, America.
I'm not really sure about that because actually, my next point that I couldn't get to was the lobbying, because you can break or make anyone's political campaign, and I will use this past election. I think the best example to use would actually be Donald Trump. I don't know if you remember during the primaries, but when this came up, Donald Trump said that he wanted to make peace, and he was attacked by Rubio and the other candidates, saying that you're not ready for peace, that we're not ready for peace or whatever. And then all of a sudden, when he won the campaign, the first thing that he was sure to do was make those say that he supports Israel, and then now that he's in the office, of course, that's what the headlines are about. Even though he had expressed an opinion before then that he actually would like to resolve this, and if you watch that speech, he explains
what are you
why.
saying?
And
That resolving the problem is must be not supporting Israel. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't catch the first part of that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, I mean, is the point that you're saying now, what you're mentioning about the Donald Trump is that Donald Trump said that he wants to reach peace here in the region, but then what you're saying is that it contradicts it when he actually says that he supports Israel. So what you're saying is reaching peace in the region must be against Israel? I mean, you can't support it.
No, that's to support my argument that there is a powerful lobby and force that can make and break a political campaign.
Oh, in the United States?
Yeah, I mean, when I write my Congress people about this, usually I get a chain letter from AIPAC. Actually, I actually have a pen.
There are a lot of Jews in there.
And so someone tried to. I know you haven't said this, but someone tried to tell me that there isn't an Israel lobby. So.
There is no Israel lobby. There is Jewish lobby. That's right. That's right.
Well, it's not really a Jewish lobby because you speak for a nation. You don't speak for a religion or a race. You speak for a nation.
This is a Jewish state that it has been established.
It's not a Jewish state, though. You've been arguing about that since the UN gave you the right. You're still arguing about it now. It's never actually been established as a Jewish state. And I think that's kind of the problem here, too, because people usually think of this as it has to be a two-state solution. But I just don't think it's possible. I honestly think it should be a one-state solution, in my opinion.
Well, yeah,
but I don't think you're ready for it. And I think that's what's going on. There's more going on than that, but in a generalized way for the conflict with the Palestinians themselves.
I also think that there should be a one-state solution because to another Muslim hostile state here nearby Israel will be just a problem, won't be a solution, but whatever. I mean, we agree about this, but I think Israel should exist and Palestine doesn't exist and shouldn't exist. And what you're saying is that Palestine has been occupied. Well, there has never been Palestine before, but whatever, facts are not an issue in this.
Well, the only evidence that you have that you would have a claim to that land is a religious text, and that doesn't mean anything to me because I'm an atheist.
History, no, I'm not talking about the religious text. I'm talking about history, about archaeology, about culture, about whatever there is in this land. About symbols that you can find. Here is my.
Well, someone already lives there. I mean, that's their culture.
You know what this is?
Symbols.
You know what this is? You know what this is? The David Star.
I can't answer questions meant.
Do you know what this is?
Your argument. I can't answer questions to support your argument.
No, I'm just asking you. Do you know what that is? This is the symbol of the Jewish people. It has always been. This country is just like one archaeology digging site. It's all about Jews. And you can't find any Palestinian, so-called Palestinians foundings here in the archaeology because there has never been such a thing as Palestinians. They were Arabs. And until 1967, they never recognized themselves as a separate nation.
Well, that's what's called a U2 argument. It's not really an argument because
you can check
because you're not telling me what you're doing is right. And even if they don't have lay claim to those things, they were still there first. So it doesn't really there's no real conclusion to draw there. It's a red herring too, because they're saying because of A, because to B, and
let me tell you, if you're asking me if I think that what I'm doing is right, then let me explain why I do think that it's right without even touching the religion issue. Okay. Israel has been established after the Holocaust, whatever. I don't know if it was the main reason or it just helped to make it faster. But Israel has been established as a refuge for the Jews around the world. and it has been established by the UN resolution when the UN still was a rational.
Yeah, I mean, I can't change that. But the thing is, actually, it had started before then.
Can I finish?
Too.
Yeah. Can I finish?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So once we establish the state, the Arabs have been offered, there has been offered this separation, what do you call it? Separation plan that they rejected. There would have been there wouldn't be a problem if they did accept it, but at that time they rejected it. They started, what are you saying?
Generous at all. The generous deal that Bill Clinton supposedly put together, that has been debunked numerous times, and it was hardly a deal at all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It. You're saying that they turned down this Yasser Arafat turned down.
No, dude. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about 1948, the separation plan. I don't know how to say this in English.
Well, I can't change the history, and that you're still not telling me why it's.
Well, I'm trying.
The UN says it's okay. That's actually another fallacious argument. That's called an appeal to authority. It doesn't mean because what happened because the UN said it was okay in 1948 doesn't mean that it says it's okay.
No, I don't think.
They're not saying that.
I don't think you understand what I'm talking about. I'm mentioning the plan that has been offered by the UN to the two peoples that were in this region, the Jews and the Arabs. The Arabs have been, the Judea and Samaria were part of the plan that was offered to them, and the western side of the Israel, as you know it now, was offered to the Jews. Jews accepted it, Arabs rejected it in November 29, and they started a war against Israel, which lasted for 1.5 years. Israel won, Arabs lost. They started it. If they did accept this resolution, there wouldn't be any problem. Until now, there would be 2 states. They rejected it. At that point.
Okay, well, I'm not going to bother saying the other side of the story because it's too quo. It's a U2 argument, and not really explaining it. That doesn't tell me why it's okay for me to give $15 billion a year.
You asked me why do I think that it's legitimate to have a Jewish state here and Israel here, which
I didn't ask you that. I just said that it was being refuted, and actually you contradicted yourself because you said it was a Jewish state, and now you're saying that it should be. So
no, it is a Jewish state. I said it is a Jewish state. You said it.
You might believe that, but it's not a Jewish state under law.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't write your laws. I just know that it's not a Jewish
state. It's a Jewish democratic state.
You've never agreed that it is. I mean, you might believe that it should be, and you can believe whatever you want, but that doesn't mean that's true.
No, it has been.
Okay. If I'm wrong, show me. I'll find my source, and you can show me that it isn't. I'll post my sources at the end. I don't have a problem doing that. But
it has been declared.
It doesn't really answer the question. My question either of why I should be paying for this. It doesn't mean anything, and I think that's a bad thing.
I've never said that you should be paying this. I've never said that you should be paying for this. I'm just saying that America does benefit from special relations with Israel. So if it does want to pay for
you're not telling me why we benefit, though.
What?
You're not telling me that. You're not telling me how we benefit here.
I'm telling you.
How do we benefit?
Clearly, you are, because you have an ally in the savage region, and America. I mean, government has been funding the Israeli army.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is our ally too.
Really? Do you really rely on Saudi Arabia?
I guess we do. That's a whole nother argument.
Look, I don't think we know enough about what's the interests of the governments of the United States for 70 years, but clearly it has some reasons to fund Israel for some. If you want to get something for something, you need to pay for this, and but I do think that America benefits from Israel being a very strong country in the region that it wants to control, because Israel is an ally of the American people here, shares the values of the Western world, and America can rely on them, rely on Israel every point that comes. I mean, but you can rely on Syria, you can rely on Egypt because their governments aren't stable. they can change every day. So that, yeah, if you want something to be as
we are Egypt. We are Egypt's government, and we give them. They're the country that we actually fund. We give all this money away, and you're number one, they're number two on the list. So yeah, we actually control them. Their military controls their government, and we control their military. So
well, America funds its interests around the world. In Israel, it's about security and about.
Well, I don't think we should be doing it at all, and I think this is one of the best examples on why we shouldn't be doing it.
Well, that's another debate if you want to talk about this.
Well, I mean, the debate is how we benefit, and that's kind of the lead argument is that you're receiving an outrageous amount of money here, and that it's not being used for any good. And then they know, of course, there's some other reasons.
I mean, look, what I'm saying is, I'm trying to look at this as a person who has no background in military, okay, or in any political, conflicts that are more than just to have an opinion about some situation. What I'm saying is, I don't know why America and for what America pays here in Israel. It's just what I do know is Israel is the eastern military base of the American army, and it's a very stable democracy that will
Well, I don't think we should be over there, and I don't think it's really a democracy either.
Okay, well, we can disagree about that. If we want to talk about that, that's fine. I'm not sure I can say more than that what I think about America. How does it benefit from Israeli relationships? I mean, Israeli-American relationship. I do think that if you have an ally here, you do benefit. Otherwise, America wouldn't be paying for this. For all the reasons in the world, there are a lot of things to pay for except the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's not all about that. It's not all about the Palestinians. It's about the region. The whole region is crazy.
Well, I mean, that's another, you're going too quote again. I'm not saying that, that because the Palestinians do something wrong or that it should be about the Palestinians. I'm just saying, that we shouldn't be doing it because what you're doing is wrong, and you're really not telling me why it's right.
Is that what you're talking about? You think what we're doing is wrong? Okay.
Of course I do.
This?
Well, of course I do.
Okay, so what do you think we're not doing wrong, right?
Well, I really think that you shouldn't be occupying that land.
In order to be occupying a land, you need to occupy it from somebody. Well, in this case, Palestine has never existed, and Palestinian people have never governed the region. If you're saying that we're occupying the land, that when we are occupying it from Jordan, so why didn't I hear Jordanian government coming here to claim the land back? Because Jordan has never occupied it legally. You know that Jordanian occupation was illegal even before Israeli's occupation. Only two countries supported the occupation by Jordan. Neither did Palestinians have any problem with that, did they?
Look, what I know is that it's illegal. The UN says it's illegal, and
no,
for that reason,
UN doesn't think it's illegal. It's a refuted region. It's a refuted territory. It's not illegal occupation. It's not occupation.
Okay, well, I'll post that. I'll cite my source that they do.
It's not. Well, in order to be occupied, first of all, it has to be occupied from somebody. Well, tell me, who did we occupy this land from?
Well, the UN says that you're doing it.
No, I'm asking you a question. I don't mind.
The people who already live there.
I don't care what UN thinks because they think that the Temple Mount is not Jewish, but whatever. I'm not. They're irrational. What I'm asking you is, who did we occupy this land from?
The people who already live there. There are people who already
live here. Since the Jewish exile by the Romans 2 years ago, this land has never been one day that Jews have never weren't here. 2,000 years Jews lived here in this land. They weren't the majority, of course, because this
doesn't mean that you get to have your own government.
What?
That doesn't mean you get to have your own government and tell people then force people out of their home at gunpoint and demolish it.
Thinks that we do because they're the ones who gave her the permission to establish the state here.
You're appealing to authority again, but because they said something was okay in 1948 doesn't mean that they're saying it's okay in 2017.
You're talking about different thing. We're here right now for a reason. The reason is that the UN, by all the means and resolution, decided that we do have the right to establish a Jewish state here. Okay, what happened afterwards, we can talk about this. I claim that we have always been attacked by the Arabs. We have never had one safe day here in this region. Okay, so we do have some reasons that some weren't up to us, some were up to us, that brought us to this situation today. But Israel, I mean, has been established by all the rights of the UN.
You're ignoring all those things, though. You're not telling me why it's okay for me to be giving you all this money in 2017 and for you forcing people off their land just because it's not the same land they said it was okay for you to be on in 1948.
That's okay.
So I don't see how that's an argument.
I've never claimed that's okay. I'm saying that your government has the reasons to fund Israel for the reasons that we both don't know. If I did know, I would have.
We're funding for the reasons that we don't know. It's okay.
You can go to your government and say, I don't want you to fund Israel. Okay, you can go. I can't say that it's...
Well, I'll just get a letter from a lobby. I mean, I'll still do it. I'll still write them. I still do write them letters, but I just get a chain letter. Literally, I wish I had it to hold up. It literally is from APAC. It says... You're
mixing two total different things here in this debate. I've never claimed that you need to fund me or to fund Israel. I've never claimed that. I'm saying that America does benefit from the Israeli-American relationship here. I said why. Okay, if it's okay to fund us or not, I don't know. Your government decides how to make the budget. I don't know. I'm not the one.
Well, a lot of people don't want. Actually, there's been an opinion survey, and it turns out that either people don't understand this or they don't want to pay for it, and I can cite that as well. As far as Americans go,
I pay for a lot of things that I don't think I should be paying for. For example, Arabs that do not work here and they live on the social security that I pay for. Bedouins that marry 7 women and then all the other women get the.
It's too quote. You're just because you pay for something too doesn't mean that I should pay for something.
Well, I've never claimed that you should pay for something. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that America does benefit from having an ally here in the region. And if they want to reach some interests and they want to pay for some interests that they, Israel being strong, being secured here, so it would be stable enough for America to rely on at every point. So maybe America sees that as a good reason to pay for. I'm not saying that you have to. I've never said that.
We have no reason to be in the Middle East, and all we've done is harm. We have the strongest military in the world, and none of those countries pose any threat to us, any kind of immediate threat to our safety whatsoever. You gave the reasons for us to be in those wars. You're still trying to get us to invade Iran and Syria. And we don't. It doesn't do us any good. It does us harm because people attack us. There's blowback. We see.
Are you saying that we're the ones to blame for the Iranian and Syrian situation?
Yes.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Which one should I start with?
Whatever you choose.
Okay. Well, we'll start with Iran, and then we'll get into Syria. With Iran, you've been claiming that they have nuclear weapons for years, they're trying to make them, even though they're the most inspected nuclear program in the world, and you've developed your own nuclear weapons in secret. So that they've actually cooperated, and you haven't, and we know what they're doing. So that would be Iran.
Really?
Do you want me to go into Syria, or do you want to? Okay, go ahead and talk about Iran.
Do you really think that if America does think that we do have nuclear weapon, they don't know what we're doing with it?
We do know that you have nuclear weapons, and we tried to stop you from getting them, and it didn't work.
No, I don't think so. If you did, we would have stopped. And if you did,
well, it's all documented. There's actually, well, I don't want to. I can document.
The only difference between Iran and Israel is that Israel doesn't threaten anybody with the nuclear weapon. So you
have threatened to use people with nuclear weapons. You threatened to use them in the Yom Kippur War, and then we got involved because Russia was involved in that, and they would have been a full nuclear war.
Okay.
Yes. Sure. Yes. Look up the Yom Kippur War. you actually almost started Armageddon.
Of course, right. That's why.
Well, I mean, I'm not making this. I don't have to make this stuff up. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up.
That's why we still haven't admitted that we have the nuclear weapon. You're just saying, you're claiming.
You're not admitting because you don't want to play by the rules.
We almost lost our pants in that war. How are you saying that we were about to use the nuclear weapon? Are you kidding me, dude?
You were about to lose because of the air power that you had air control in the previous conflicts. But the difference with the Yom Kippur War is that Russia was involved, and they had and the air power wasn't on your side. So that's when you said that's why you threatened to use nuclear weapons, and the U.S. said no.
Nuclear weapon. We have never threatened to use nuclear weapon because we have never admitted that we have.
Well,
can I use your proofs? Can I see them?
Well, no, I can't show it to you face to face. They'll be in the comments, and I'll be sure to put that. I'm going to make a note since that wasn't in my original research. I'm going to make a note to be sure to reference that nuclear weapons were almost used in the Yom Kippur War.
I don't know how you can claim that because Israel has never admitted that it has a nuclear weapon, but whatever.
Oh, I'm lying about it doesn't change anything. Okay, so shall I go ahead and start talking about Syria? Or?
Claiming something that is not based and is not true also doesn't change anything, but whatever.
Well, actually, it is considered a lie, and a lawyer will tell you this. My father was a lawyer, so I grew up knowing these things, that he would use them kind of and intimidate me, punishment and all that sort of thing. He would say, by not telling me, you're still lying to me, and I could argue that in court. So,
me lying to you?
Well, but no, you said that we're just not admitting it, which is because we won't admit we did something wrong. So it's okay because we just don't admit to it.
Why would I be lying to you? Have you ever been to Israel, by the way?
I would actually really like to go, but I can't.
You're more than welcome. Please come to visit me at the Judea and Samaria, the occupied territories.
I'd love to take you up on it. If I could get it funded, I would be happy to go.
Okay. Whenever.
Yeah. Okay.
Here.
As far as, okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and get into Syria. You've been at war with them since 1967, including in this Yom Kippur War. You've been at war with Syria.
No war at all. We have a conflict. We don't have any diplomatic relations, but we don't have a war.
There has been a declared state of war for that long, especially over the Golan Heights region. So you do have an interest to topple Assad, and I think that's kind of what's going on. I mean, I don't want to get into conspiracy theory or non sequitur and start talking about something different, but it is, you do have a dog in that fight because you've been at war with that government for so long.
You're claiming something you can't prove. I can't rely to this.
I can prove that. Okay, so I'm gonna make another note to reference that you've been at war with Syria, because the argument is that you have a dog in the fight because you've been at war with them for so long. All right, there is a declared state of war. I'll be sure to reference that. You've also there's been a lot of airstrikes that you've been doing against Assad. So it's kind of hard. So it is pretty evident that you
What does this have to do with Syrian situation at the moment? Israel.
Because what's going on is that you're supporting the toppling of the government there. So you do.
What do you? Israel does, we have so many conflicts here in the region. Do you think we're seeking something?
You do. Why do you have so many conflicts? Why do you think that is?
You stay here in the Muslim region. You're saying that it's because the guy from Saudi Arabia bombed.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that you shouldn't be there, but you don't have to be there either. It's your choice. It's your choice to be there.
Listen, it's not our choice. We didn't have any choice. By the way, the St. Louis ship, when it was shipped from Jordan to the America and the American allies, the free world country, America didn't accept that ship. So what did you expect from other countries? We didn't have any place to go to except our homeland, the one that has been declared as a Jewish homeland. And was, yes, in the declaration, the Balfour Declaration. Do you know who Balfour is?
I never said that the UN made a mistake when they did that.
Well, they decided that we should establish a state. So, by the way, you wouldn't be flooded by refugees. Okay, so we have a state here. We established a state by right that has been given to us by the UN. Okay, what happened since then? It has nothing to do with our right to have a state here. So what you're saying now is that it's our choice to have. No, it's not our. I mean, it was our choice, but we didn't have any other choice. You know, that's the only. It was either to die or to live. We decided to live, unlike the Muslim guys.
You're still not telling me why what you're doing today is right.
You didn't ask me.
That's what I've been talking about the whole time.
No, you didn't ask me. What we're doing now, what you're saying, we're occupying the land here in Israel?
You're occupying the land. You're starting wars with all your neighbors.
You never started a war with our. Are you? Did you check?
You're developing nuclear weapons. You fought. Okay, so you've never fought Egypt. You never fought Lebanon. You never fought Jordan. You never fought Syria. You're not Iran's your ally or something. I mean,
we have been attacked. We fought them, but not because we chose to. We have been attacked by them. Every war. What? Check the history. Are you kidding me? Did you even read the history book, dude? You're wasting my time. You didn't even read the history. Are you kidding me? Do you know the history, or you just brainwashed? Because I can claim things without basing them on something, and then just have a whole theory about something without basing it on history. I'm telling you, this land has never been Palestinian. Never. There has never been Palestine state governed by Palestinian government. Never.
People live there.
No. So what? Jewish people also live here in the region. What did you think, that we came here, out of the blue and we established a state? No. This land has always been the Jewish homeland for 2,000 years. There has never been one day in 2,000 years since the Jewish exile by the Romans that this land was with zero Jews. Never. There were Jewish cities here. Okay, Jews live here under somebody's other government.
That's non sequitur, because you're not telling me how I benefit from that.
You don't need to be benefited from that.
Well, if I'm paying for it, I should get something out of it. I mean,
no. Why?
Why? Okay, so I don't have to pay for it.
Don't pay. Did I tell you to pay for it? Your government decided to pay for it, clearly for some reasons.
They were pressured to do so.
No, I don't think so.
Well, there is a Israel lobby, and they do pressure. The election.
There is no Israel lobby. There is Jewish lobby, and all the Jews. I mean, 70% of the Jews voted for Obama. So I don't know how to.
Well, Obama was a pro-Israel president just because he said it, because he tried to play both sides to get votes. I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
Look, you live in a conspiracy theory. That's hard.
What conspiracy theory?
What?
What conspiracy theory?
What you're talking about? You're saying that that Israel has the only reason that America is funding Israel is because of the Israeli lobby. Although I don't think that there's Israeli lobby there in America. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, neither one of us could establish a good reason for us to give so much money. But I know that there's people whose job is to make sure that we give so much money. So I think that would be a good place to start.
America funds a lot of countries. Israel is not. It's not the only one. America funds a lot of countries for several reasons, for economic, political, military.
It's not never for a good reason. It's all to kill people, and it's all corporate greed.
Well, that is something else. In this case, Israel is the only democracy in the region. So maybe it's
not a democracy.
It is.
And okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me ask you.
You said you accused me of a conspiracy theory, and that was very ad hominem. So I just want to be clear that there is no conspiracy theory.
Okay. Why aren't we a democracy? I just want to listen.
Well, okay. So this is complicated, because basically what you're making another fallacious argument where you appeal to ignorance. because people, they don't understand that there's, I'm going to say 4 territories, because you have Israel proper, you have Gaza, you have the West Bank, and you also have Jerusalem. So I'm going to call those the 4 territories. I'm not including the Golan Heights. So that, I mean, but anyway, so you have Israel proper, and maybe you could argue that that's a democracy, and you also couldn't argue it's a democracy, but there might be a valid argument that it is. But at the same time, you have the West Bank, which is occupied. Those people have no rights. You said they never had a government. No one ever cared about them.
Territory.
Yeah, you have Gaza, which is also occupied, where the people have no rights. That's not a democracy. And you're also building ethnic-only colonies where you have to be a certain ethnicity to live there. If you're not that ethnicity, you can't live there. So that's hardly a democracy at all.
That is a lie. And the guy, I don't know if that was you who asked me the question, or your brother, or the other Michael, whatever his last name is. You asked me if I have Arab neighbors. I do have Arab neighbors in this settlement. Okay.
So, well, this settlement isn't every settlement.
What?
This settlement isn't every settlement. That's, you're not speaking for all the settlements. You're only speaking for the one that you live in.
Settlements, but it's not about ethnicity. I also can live in Al-Fahim, the Arab colony here in the middle of Israel, just because they won't accept me. They will either kill me or won't accept me. There are villages.
That's doesn't mean that it's okay for you to go build a ethnic only colony on their land.
They're not ethnic. It's just that, I mean, if an Arab wants to come live in a Jewish settlement here, like a big settlement, so I live in a city. Okay, there are very small communities. They're mostly religious. Not only Arabs can live there, also not all the religious people can live there. Not only the secular people can live there. It's just about a community. It's not about ethnicity. Okay, so you just don't understand the whole point. You have some.
Can I move there? Can I move there?
You can, of course. I can
go build a house and live there.
Of course you can. Come here and buy a house here in the area. You want to?
I was just curious if I could.
What?
I was just curious if I could.
Of course you could. You can come save some, Palestinians that you think they're suffering so much, but they live way, way better than in any other country in the world that is Arab. Maybe not in Saudi Arabia and, Dubai or something, but Syria, Egypt, Jordan, all other countries, they live way better. You know which cars they drive here? Mercedes, BMW. Come here to see. You've never been to Israel. I think
it's too cool. I mean, that's like saying that someone shouldn't have food stamps because they're fat or they have a nice car. That doesn't mean anything.
What you think is happening here is not happening here, and you don't have the correct facts to actually have some theory that is based on the truth. What I'm doing here is just refuting.
I've told you why the arguments you're using are considered logically incorrect many times.
What my arguments?
Yes.
For example.
To quote, when you blame the Palestinians, you're not telling me why what you're doing is okay. You're just telling me that because someone else does something wrong, it's okay for you to do.
That's not what I said. I was trying to tell you why what I'm doing is okay, but you don't listen. What I'm saying is that your conception is wrong because of some things that you say, but they're not correct. You're saying that we're occupying the territory. What I'm saying is that in order to be occupying a territory, you need to occupy it from somebody. So let's start with something that Palestinians.
If people live there, it doesn't matter what government was in power. It just means that they already live there and that they would have a claim to land.
They have never governed the region. And just like they lived in this region, Jews also lived in this region.
If they've been in that same home for many generations, it's kind of hard to say if they shouldn't live there.
What?
If they've been in that same home for many generations, they've been in that same village and all that sort of thing.
Jews have constantly lived in this land for 4,000 years. So
that doesn't mean that they deserve to have their own government, though. I mean, that doesn't mean they deserve to have their own government. I mean, imagine if I was using that as an argument for me having my own government.
Yeah. There is a difference between saying that we're occupying the land and between saying that they should have a land, They should have a state. We can talk about establishing 2 states. That's okay. But you can force this on us saying that we're doing something.
I think it should be 1 state. I don't think it's a good idea to think of it as a 2-state solution. I mean, that's another that's another conversation, but maybe it's a conversation we should have because we're not, we, there's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel here, and I think that a one-state solution makes sense.
Which state? Which state? Which state solution?
Well, I mean, there's never going to be a Palestinian state. I'm not. So it's kind of like what I mean. The way I think of this is, it's kind of like the Jim Crow laws and slavery here in the United States. There's still people today, but especially yesterday, kind of that blacks and whites shouldn't live together, and that they should have separate states away from each other. But of course, we abolished the Jim Crow laws, and we've been trying to come together for many years now. I mean, and so I kind of think that's the same thing that should happen over there, basically.
Do you think we should, how do you call it, annexate the territories and give them citizenship?
Do I think we should annex the territories and give them citizenship? Yeah, basically, you'd all be under the same thumb. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that you do, but I mean, the way that we see it, I'm sure it wouldn't. I don't know how.
Either way, we actually gave. By the way, do you know that we gave to the Arabs that live in the eastern Jerusalem, that we gave them not opportunity. They have the right to claim citizenship for Israel. They have the national security. How do you call it? They get money from the government, but they can't vote until they accept the Israeli citizenship. But they have never accepted the Israeli citizenship for boycotting us, for being government that they don't want to live under. So they decided to not accept the citizenship, but they still have the right because Israel gave them the right. So do the Golan Heights Druze and Arabs, and they never accepted the right. We gave them the right; they've never accepted it. It's up to them. When by the way, when the Syrian war started, a lot of Arabs who lived in the Golan Heights accepted the Israeli citizenship finally. Now they have same rights as all the Israeli people. They can vote. They get money from the government. They have members, the Arab members in the government. They can work wherever they want. They can get money wherever they want. I don't see how you can claim that Israel is not a democratic state.
Well, we have people in your government who certainly don't believe that. They basically think that the Palestinians shouldn't exist at all.
Who claims that?
I don't know the person's name offhand, but I know that they're a powerful person in the administration, and I can cite that.
I think that maybe what you think that they said is that Palestine shouldn't exist as a state, but not Palestinians.
No, they really called just to go mow. I think they call it mowing the lawn or something like that.
Who?
Yeah, they. Well, I'd have to look that. You want me to look it up now? I can do that. Let's see.
What did he say?
Let's see. I can get a quote for you. It's not a problem. Okay. Just trying to find. Usually, I like to find a source that's from the other side, just so there isn't a claim of bias. So,
if it's Haaretz or B'Tselem, then it's biased. But okay.
So I'm going to call up the article from the Times of Israel.
Okay.
Wait, no, that's not about the same subject. Okay, I'm not going to pronounce the guy's name. I have his name. You can probably pronounce it better than I can. That's probably why I can't remember it either. It's Ayelet. That's his first name, and his second name
I-L-A, what? A-Y?
Ayet,
Yeah.
and his that's his first name. His last name,
Ayelet. Ayelet, okay.
and his last
Shaked.
name is
Shaked.
S-H. Yeah.
Ayelet Shaked. Okay, what did she say?
Um. Okay. It says she called for genocide. I just have the headline. Let's get.
She called for genocide?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm trying to. I gotta read here. This is the entire Palestinian people is the enemy, and okay, okay. Well, I should just read. Okay, during Israelis' 2014 attack on Gaza, MK Shakid essentially called for the genocide of Palestinians. In a Facebook post on July 1st, a day
What did
before.
she say? Quote, quote, quote. Not what they thought that that she said.
Well, I'm trying to put the quote in context is all. Which, okay, well, but if we want to go to the quote, it's the entire Palestinian people is the enemy, and
Okay.
called for its destruction, including its elderly and its women, its cities and its villages, its property and its infrastructure.
That's why we treated Palestinian women and children during the war in Gaza, because we wanted them dead, right?
Well, that's what she said. That was your question, and she said that. She said, "Let's just go kill them all." Basically, she called for that. The entire Palestinian people is the enemy, and for its destruction, including elderly women.
When was this published? I'm sorry. When was this published? Can you?
This is an article.
2014, June, July.
This article is. Where's the date on it? It's not really giving me a date. This is from Mondo Weiss, so it would be this would be a source that would it basically is an editorial, more of an editorial source. But let's see if we can find a newspaper article.
Look, what I can tell you now, I don't know what was written in that article and what for, and maybe it's just a headline that wanted you to read this. But what I'm saying is that in Israeli government, there are people who are more right, who are more left, but nobody claims that Palestinian people should be killed. We do.
Well, I just have someone saying that on record, though.
No, I live here and I know what they say. I follow them on Facebook.
I mean, I can read though.
What?
But I can read.
So can I. I can write something.
I'm reading an article that says that someone said that though, and I think it was Michael. I mean, I think it was Michael who said in the comments before that there's actually 5 people, I think, in the government now who have expressed these beliefs of genocide. So
there is no genocide here in Israel. Has never been genocide here in Israel for the Palestinians. The Palestinian population grew constantly during the Israeli occupation, or whatever you call it. There were 700,000 Arabs here in 1948. Now there are almost 3 million. I don't know how you can say that we are doing some genocide. I don't know. What I'm saying is that we're seeking peace. We're not about to commit a suicide. So somebody else would be happy. Israel is a Jewish state. Okay, it's a Jewish land. It has always been a Jewish homeland. Okay, there has never been Palestine here. Okay, we can talk about establishment.
But you haven't been there in the capacity that you're talking about since 1948, and you didn't start migrating there, and you started migrating there before then, actually, and it just wasn't a very popular idea.
What?
Well, you had actually started migrating. It wasn't.
No.
It was part. No. It was that wasn't how it was governed before, and you started migrating there as a movement.
No.
Zionist movement. It was actually very unpopular until
this land, since Romans exiled Jews 2,000 years ago, this land there was no one minute that it was without Jews at all. Okay, The Jews live here through the
Just because they continue to live there doesn't mean that you deserve to have your own state or government or anything like that.
If you're saying that this occupation is illegal, then the Romans' occupation was also illegal, was it?
It wouldn't matter. That's too quo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make her doing okay.
Well, Jews lived here in this territory for 2,000 years, along with the Arabs. It's just that the UN decided that we should establish a state. They also thought that Arabs also should establish a state. They rejected the idea. If they did accept that idea, that would have solved the whole problem here. They created the problem. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to entertain an argument that's too quo, but we both know that they would also blame you.
They blame us?
I would say so. You don't think that they blame you? I mean, do you think that
they blame us for,
some of them do, not all of them, but
they claim that they want to kill Americans for this conflict here in Palestine, and you think that that's true. Well, what I'm saying is that they just want to kill and they want to fight, and that's what they do. And if they don't fight us, they fight others.
They don't have they don't have an army. They don't have anything like that. There's no way for them to fight you. I mean, it's basically like a bunch of yahoos from the local militia are mad someone's trying to take their guns away or something.
Really?
So
Really? Killing a family and a baby with their bare hands, it's not fighting? Inciting their whole population to go and kill babies and children, that's not fighting? You don't need an army to spill blood here. There's a lot of blood that has been spilled through the history here in 70 years. So don't say that they're not fighting. They are fighting.
I don't deny that they're fighting. I just don't feel like that those people who are fighting you feel like they have a choice. I mean, they have nothing else to do with their life. I mean, they're not part of an army. They can't join an army and fight you. I mean, so and they don't really have the capacity to attack you in an ethical way.
Trust me.
They don't have the capacity to attack you in an ethical way. They can't invade you. They can't target your military bases. They can't target your military. They don't have the technology to do it. They don't have the weapons to do it.
They can't. What did they do through all the Gaza war here? My husband fought in that war. They attacked the whole
firing rockets doesn't mean anything. So they were doing a couple of things in that war. They were firing rockets at you, but the chances the rockets don't even hurt. Like maybe like the civilian casualties were much less, and that's the most important thing. But they're also, those rockets can't be targeted. They're just projectiles. So they do go into civilian areas, but there's no way to target where they go. So there's no way to control that. It doesn't mean it's ethical.
If Paris or New York had to instruct their population to stay in a bomb shelter for a month, and you would say that's not attacking, I promise you, one day of attacking with rockets, one day that people had to stay in bomb shelters for one day in any other country, you would have expected that government to attack the attacker. What you're expecting of us is to commit a suicide for some reason.
Well, in 2014, actually, the way that started is that those Palestinian teenagers, they weren't in Gaza. They were in the West Bank, and they shouldn't have been there. One of them was an Israeli soldier, and they were actually there to colonize. They were there to start an illegal colony, which is actually illegal under Israeli law. So they were breaking the law, and then it was the Palestinians who live in the West Bank were collectively punished. So the militants, they launched attack in response.
Even if I agree with you, which I do not agree with you, because you're saying again and again the same concept that I'm telling you is a total lie, according to the historical facts. Just for as a person who lived here through the whole 2014 war there in Gaza, it didn't start because of the boys. It started because Hamas started firing rockets at the south of Israel. And
the casualty rate, there's a great disparity in the casualty rate, and those rockets, I'm not saying it's okay for them to fire rockets at you, because it isn't, but they're just very primitive weapons in comparison to you having the seventh strongest military in the world.
You know, knives are also primitive, but they kill. It doesn't matter. The rockets can reach I mean, there was one day that the Israeli airport was closed because of the rockets. Rockets are What are you saying? Tell me, what are you saying? You're saying that it's
I'm
okay.
saying that you started the conflict
No, no,
in
no.
2014.
Let me ask you a question. Are you saying that it's okay to attack a state until some level? Okay, that it's
I don't
fine.
think it's okay for you to attack people, and
We
I
don't
don't think it's
attack
okay for you to
them.
attack them.
We don't attack them. We don't attack them.
You did attack them, and
Okay.
you attacked them all. You're still bombing Gaza now, and
When
you're
they
those
start
people.
bombing them.
Those people live in the West Bank. It would take me 7 hours to go to work because they have to go through all those checkpoints and all that stuff.
Well,
Um,
excuse me. Should we let them in to kill us? Because when they do, they do. You know, when they get into Israel and they have the opportunity to kill, they kill. So what are you saying? Should we commit a suicide? For what reason? Should we let our borders free to come in and to go out? Should we let ourselves to be bombed by a hostile authority there at the south? So that would be okay with you? What are you suggesting? Us as a sovereign state, what should we do in this situation when a hostile terror organization attacks the Israeli population in the south, makes the population, children, women, targets kindergartens? What should we do? What should a state do? Not us. You know
they
what?
can't target you, and the weapons they're firing are primitive weapons,
It
and
doesn't matter.
the casualties. Look at the numbers of casualties.
They're not primitive. They're not primitive. They can reach the central Israel. They can kill. It doesn't matter what weapon it is. It can kill. So do you suggest that the only way we should fight back is only when it's equal armies? Is that what you're saying? Otherwise, we should commit a suicide. We should just let our people to be bombed by primitive rockets and I mean.
I'm trying to understand your question because it seems kind of emotional, and I've already said that I don't think it's okay for them to attack you, but you dominated that war and you started it, and they didn't really have the capacity to fight back that you did.
They
And
started it.
the other way that they fought you was basically just fighting back. When you invaded their territory, they fought back. I mean, I don't think anyone can refute that as being.
Nobody invaded their territory. It's Gaza. We withdrew from Gaza in 2005. There's no single soldier in there.
The UN never granted you that land.
What?
UN never granted you Gaza. It was part of Egypt, actually.
I'm talking about 2014. I'm talking about now. 2014. There was no single soldier in their territory. We didn't invade their territory. So why did they attack?
Well, in 2014, you did invade their territory,
No.
and that was part of your attack.
No, we
If
didn't.
the chicken or the egg came first, I mean, that's how war. That's what wars are about. Both sides blame. It's the other side. They blame each other.
They attack. I mean, look, go and check the facts. I'm not going to waste my time on refuting lies. I'm telling
I
you.
haven't lied. What did I lie about?
What you're saying is, I mean, maybe you don't know that you're lying, but you're saying some facts that are total lies. We didn't start that war. We were attacked.
It's documented. Those teenagers that were missing in the West Bank. One of them was an Israeli soldier, and they were colonizing there.
Who was an Israeli soldier?
One of those three teenagers was an Israeli soldier, and they were colonizing.
Who was a soldier? Are you kidding me? They were.
Just because I don't know his name offhand doesn't mean that it's not true. You want me to? I'll be sure to put that in my notes at the end.
I know their names. No one of them was a soldier. They were 14, 15, and 16. We started our military service at 18. Nobody was. They were all civilians. They just hitchhiked a car. I mean, they were hitchhiking. Okay, and
if he was active or not, I don't know that. I do know that he was involved in the idea.
You're mixing facts. Okay, this war didn't start because of the boys. It started because Hamas started firing rockets at the south of Israel. That's why it started.
Why did they start firing rockets? When did they start firing rockets?
I don't know why.
They started firing rockets when the collective punishment began in the West Bank to find the 3 missing teenagers.
So, excuse me, weren't we supposed to be looking for them? searching for them? Was that okay to kill them, to hitchhike
Well, I
them?
don't think anyone said that that was wrong. I think they just said the way you were doing it was wrong.
Well, you're talking about who started it. Who started it? If you're saying that it started because of the
Well, the Palestinian teenagers, they were going to places they shouldn't be. Even the Israeli government didn't think they should be there because they weren't going to a colony that had been established. They were going to start their own colony that had not been established or recognized under the Israeli government, which is illegal.
Dude, those guys, those kids, they were 13, 15, and 16. Okay, they live at that place. Okay, they were just trying to transport from one point to another point. That's how people live, and that's how they
Well, I know the militants. They thought that what you were doing was wrong. They thought you were using collective punishment against all the people in the West Bank, and they didn't like that. And they were already pretty upset about a bunch of other stuff that you did. So basically, they made this pathetic attempt to harm you, and then you used it.
So that what are you saying is that's just okay. But what you're saying is to take 3 kids, to kill them, okay, for some whatever reason you think is just or not just, is fine. It's not starting a war. To start bombing Israel, making all the people get into
They can't bomb you. These aren't bombs. This is literally homemade projectiles. The rockets are homemade projectiles.
Those rockets.
There's supposed rockets that Hamas is firing, which Hamas isn't the totality of the Palestinian people. It's only one faction of it, and that's all this was true as well.
You don't know the facts. The rockets.
Obviously, I do.
No, you don't. You don't, because the rockets can reach central Israel. The only reason that there were no civilian casualties in this war on the Israeli side is because of we have the color red, the siren that goes off when the rocket's being fired, and the Iron Dome, and because Israeli government does care for their people, unlike Hamas that uses the people as human shields. So what you're saying is that the reason, it's okay to kidnap kids and to kill them, fine, it's not starting a war. To start firing rockets at the south of a sovereign state is not starting a war. But fighting back is starting a war. Do you know how hypocritical that sounds? Would you expect from any other?
You're not fighting back though. You're the aggressor. They have no way to really fight a war with you. They don't have an army. They can't invade you. They can't do it. They don't have the capacity to do it.
Well, clearly they try every time, and it costs us a lot of blood.
I don't really think that they have much of a choice.
They don't have much of a choice.
I think that it would be great if they did have the same rights.
One second. Нет. Что? Я завтра не иду на машине. Быстро, я обхожу. What are you saying?
I don't think those people would argue that they have much of a choice.
So what you're saying is that if you don't have a choice, it's fine to go and kill some civilians, kids, babies. It's fine, and because they have no choice, we can fight back. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's too quo. You're just because they fight too does not mean that what you do is right.
It's okay to fight back. It's okay to fight back.
But you're not really fighting back though. You're the aggressor.
If we attack them, it
was a military. Let's put this in some better. It was a military that conducted the collective punishment in the West Bank that got this going.
I don't know what collective punishment you're talking about.
Well, it's been a few years since 2014, but when you were trying to find those teenagers, I think that you were doing some things that, basically it's like my house is being raided right now because they want to find some missing child. They're just going house to house, invading every house. I don't think anyone is going to agree that that's okay.
I don't think we did that, but even if we did, I'll tell you why. Because all the Palestinian population can be involved in terror activity. Not all of them terrorists. Don't misunderstand me. What I'm saying is that Hamas and all the terror organizations do use civilian homes and civilian how do you call it, hospitals and schools to hide weapons, to use them as their use them as their basis and for their activity. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if the army did use start with the collective punishment, but in that case, I don't see how the army could have found the kids. Were we supposed to neglect them? What are you saying?
I don't think it can be argued that invading someone's personal property without some sort of probable cause is okay.
It's not okay. But if there is a reason to believe that the guys and the boys can be there, then there is no reason to not do that.
You're playing it both. You're saying it both ways there. You're saying it's not okay, but clearly, that it is because of the reason it's so important.
Clearly, some civilian did that, right? Somebody kidnapped those guys and killed them. And clearly, Israel uses their intelligence information to find the guys. So they probably do have the reasons to believe that there are some people who claim that they're civilians, but they're involved in terror activity. So you can't say that it's not okay but all those terrorists who killed people and kidnapped people were sort of civilians. They weren't in the formal army. Okay. It all comes from the population. You can't know who's a terrorist, who's not. So what are we supposed to do? No, tell me. I mean, I'm curious. What are you suggesting?
That's like saying we're going to win the war on drugs by just going house to house and kicking down every door. It's not.
That's not what we did. Can you prove that that's what we did?
Well, I would have to reference what exactly the collective punishment was, but I know that's what.
Well, you have mentioned facts that are not correct. Okay, so I don't see.
Well, I'm saying I don't remember every detail, but I do know that that's what was. I remember listening to it on the radio on my headed to work that this situation on the West Bank was very heated because these teenagers were missing and that some things were going on that people were upset about.
The reason the 2014 war started, not because of the teenagers. There was something that, I mean, first of all, they kidnapped the teenagers. Okay, let's start with this. They kidnapped the teenagers. If something happened afterwards that we did to find those teenagers was their fault. Okay, but then they claimed that. What you're saying is that they claimed that we used the collective punishment and they started firing rockets at the south of Israel. So I don't see where we are the aggressors here. What?
Well, I guess they shouldn't have been doing what they were doing.
What were they doing?
They shouldn't have been going into the outside of the territory that's been designated for.
No,
would be the argument here.
You don't know what you're talking about. The whole territory here, we live side by side with the Palestinians. We drive same roads. We drive same public transport.
That might be true, but that doesn't mean that that you can go into other areas that would be considered Palestinian.
They were just
pitch a tent and say it's yours.
They were just hitchhiking on the road that is used by Palestinians and Israelis side by side. People live there, and that's how they go from places to places. Those same roads that Palestinians and Israelis use. Okay, it's not separated. They didn't go to their village. They didn't use their homes, and they didn't do anything. They were just hitchhiking, just like every day I do, and like every day my husband does, and like every day every other Israeli citizen does at that area since 1967. That's what they were doing. So those Arabs who kidnapped them just stopped the car at a regular bus station where they were hitchhiking, trying to get home, and they kidnapped them. They weren't doing something wrong. Okay.
That doesn't mean you punish the whole people for it.
We don't punish the whole people for that. We were just trying to find those guys, and I don't know which techniques they used in the army to find them. I'm sure that they did. They did try to find them, and there are a lot of people who were involved in that because you can't separate terror from from population, because a lot of civilians are involved in terror activity, and there's a lot of intelligence. I mean, Israeli army uses intelligence to know to know who's involved in the terror activity. But we were just trying to find those guys, and they were kidnapped by the Palestinians. So who was the aggressor in this case? And then afterwards, we were trying to find those guys. I don't remember this connection, by the way. But I'm just trying to make something clear to you. For me, as I remember, as the Israeli citizen during the 2014 war, okay, it started because Hamas started firing rockets at Israel. Okay, it would have stopped it wouldn't even been started if the Hamas didn't start firing rockets. We would have just found those poor kids who were killed. Okay, and that's where it would stop. They started firing rockets at us. So you're saying they don't have a chance. Why did they start firing rockets? They really don't have a chance. That's not Israel is way stronger than Hamas. Why did they endanger their people, knowing that they're not gonna win this war? What reason?
They don't care. That's the only thing they can do, because they're living under a brutal occupation, and they're upset to begin with. They don't care. They don't care if they don't win or not. I mean, they try. I think they actually tried at one point. If I remember, they actually tried targeting the Dimona plant where these nuclear weapons are. So I think they're just trying to kill everybody. They don't care. Well,
they don't care, right? They don't care for their people. During that war, Israel treated just like it does treat this Syrian refugees. Okay, it treated children and women during that war, fighting the enemy and treating their civilians. Have you ever saw a country doing that?
Well, I mean, I don't think that saying they do things wrong too makes what you do right. I mean, I can sympathize with them.
No. Listen, you don't understand. Okay, Gaza isn't occupied. There is no single soldier in the Gaza.
It's barricaded. It's barricaded is occupied.
Well, barricaded. It's not a barricaded. Only barricaded for some specific things, like concrete, in order they wouldn't be able to build tunnels which get into Israel, but that's the only reason.
No, they can't. You control how many calories they eat every day. It's
man.
They probably even have clean drinking water, electricity.
Oh, they don't pay for the electricity, by the way. They use our electricity and they don't pay. They have a debt by something like $5 billion or something like that for that electricity. So they not only that they get electricity and water, they get it for free. Okay, but okay.
That doesn't mean that what you do is okay.
Nothing means what we're doing is okay for you, for when it comes to you. Okay, you just don't see facts as a.
Well, I think that, I mean, and I really do. I mean, I really understand where you're coming from here, because I know because your entire life you've been fighting the Palestinians. So of course it would make sense to you to say that they do bad things too makes what I do right. But to somebody like me who's like, oh my God, I mean, I didn't even understand this. It was well after I graduated college that I even began to really understand what's going on here. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is. I couldn't even believe it at first. Like, I can't believe this is true. The outside person, like, why should I have to pay for this?
You don't have to pay for this. But what you're saying is not correct. Okay, what you're saying is
if I could not pay for it, I'd be happy. But I think I go.
You can ask your government why it pays for this. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that what you're saying is you're outraged by Israel being using collective punishment, as you call this.
I didn't say I was upset. I just said that I was shocked that this was going on and how much money was going for it.
You were outraged by a state trying to find 3 kids who were kidnapped, and you don't see that legitimate. But
I really thought that what you did was there in 2014 was wrong.
You find it okay to kidnap kids, to bomb.
I didn't say anything they did was okay.
But you said that's you were like, okay, yeah, well, they didn't have a choice, but so they did have to do that. So it's still not okay to fight back.
No, I think that the way that those militants are looking at it is that they have to fight you. I mean, that's they're militants. Both sides are just kind of looking for the excuse to start the fight.
No,
So,
we don't look for, trust me, we don't look for an excuse. I, as a citizen, don't look for excuse to fight because my husband,
again, that's what the government does. I really don't blame the people
no,
here. I blame the government.
no,
I think the government. I mean, we have people on record saying that they should just go kill all those people. I mean,
no, no,
that's evidence enough.
that's a lie. And that's not the first thing that was written in the newspaper that was a lie. Okay, nobody wants anybody dead here. We're not benefited by any war that is going on here. The second a war erupts here in this region, the tourism goes down, the economy goes down. We are not benefited by this. Trust me. Okay, we're not looking to fight anybody. We're not attacking anybody.
Well, I mean, I think you kind of are benefiting because you're gaining land. You're gaining land, and I know that this isn't the point of this argument, but some people would argue that the expansion of land kind of goes beyond even those borders, and that's really the true end goal here.
Which expansion of the land?
Well, I mean, of course, you have the expansion into the West Bank and the expansion that was into Gaza. I don't know, but some people would even claim that you're, like with the Golan Heights, that you're trying to take even more land than that.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that the expansion of the land is only for the security reasons. We don't have any way to run a country here, having a hostile state on the hills of Judea and Samaria.
You have all the power. I mean, the ball's always kind of been in your court. I mean, people don't have. I mean, it's literally like, you have full Air Force versus some primitive rockets. I mean,
you know that Israel is you can fly over Israel in a jet in a military jet like 2 minutes from one side to one side. Israel.
Yeah, I know it's the size of New Jersey and all that.
Yeah. Stuff. So what you're suggesting is that,
but because it's being saying you're too small doesn't mean it's okay. Like I can say, hey, tell my neighbor, hey, I only have 8.5 acres and I need 10 to call us a farm. So if you don't give me 1.5 acres, I'm going to blow your brains out. That would be that's basically what you're saying.
What you're saying is that we're occupying this land. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you said that because you're you have such a small area of land that it's okay for you to take more.
No. What I'm saying is that we're not occupying this land, and that's only it makes it easier for us to.
Well, okay. Well, let's see. Well, okay. Even I don't believe in the Bible or anything like that, but I know in the Bible, and I know because this is actually argued in another debate about this on here. That okay. Well, Judea in the Bible is Hebron. It's only Hebron. It's not this other area. And when I say that
Bible, what is it?
In the Bible,
yeah.
And this came up in another debate. Because I don't study the Bible, but Hebron, Judea in the Bible is Hebron. And there's also Palestinians in the Bible. This was in another debate where people who've actually read the Bible talked about it.
Judea is Hebron.
Yeah, the city of Hebron would be considered Judea in the Bible.
Judea is the region.
Judea was
Judea
Hebron.
Region, which included the two tribes' territories, Benjamin and Judah. That's why it's called Judea, and it's somewhere around Jerusalem. Starts a bit southern of Jerusalem and goes up to Samaria.
Okay, well, in someone else's in holy book, it says that I'll find that Hebron. I'm sure I can reference that too. That the Jewish state in the Bible is just the city of Hebron.
It's not a city; it's a region. But
okay, maybe okay. Well, region. Okay, that doesn't.
It was a kingdom.
It's a region of the area that.
It was a Jewish kingdom. It was governed by a Jewish king.
Okay, but it doesn't mean that you controlled these other regions.
Well, it was but I'm not talking about the Bible.
And it doesn't even mean. I mean, it's not even.
Why?
We're arguing from it not being true.
Why are you talking with me about the Bible? I'm not talking about the Bible. What I'm saying is this land is not occupied due to two facts. Okay. First of all, in order to occupy a land, you need to occupy it from somebody. Okay, those who we occupied this land from, why is it called West Bank? Because it's the West Bank of Jordan, used to be called for only 30 years out of the whole history. Other years it was called Judea and Samaria. So we occupied it from Jordan. Jordan occupied it from the British. It occupied it during the 1948 war when it wasn't theirs. Okay, so their occupation wasn't legitimate. But let's stop here. What I'm saying now is that we have a peace agreement with Jordan, and they've never claimed this land back. So who does it belong to? Who did we occupy?
Doesn't mean it belongs to you.
Well, we've lived on this area, and the Arabs lived on this area. Who can claim the property?
I would say the person who already lived there.
Well, we also live here.
But you didn't live there in
Not 2,000 years ago.
1967.
No, not 2,000 years ago. Israel has always been inhabited by the Jews since the exile by the Romans. The Jews have always lived.
You know, there was a minority population there of Jewish people, but it doesn't mean that there should be a government or a Jewish state just because a minority of Jewish people live there. And they got along fine too, which is also the funny part about that. Like, yeah, there are Jewish people there and they got along fine.
Well, and then in 1947, the UN resolution decided to give the Jews the opportunity to establish a state, and also to the Arabs, which they rejected. So who do you blame them for?
Well, the deal that they rejected, I mean, that wasn't a good deal, and that's already been debunked several times. I mean, Jimmy Carter has debunked that, actually.
And what did he say?
Well, I know in his book, Peace, Not Apartheid, from what I can remember, it was also a few years, it was actually, I think I read it in 2013. He explains how you would have dominated the media, the roadways, and all the resources. So it just kind of looked good on the surface, but underneath it really wasn't a fair plan at all.
What does this have to do with the UN resolution in 1947?
None of this stuff does. We're talking about the history since 1967, and also that's and you're not. That's not really that's a fallacious argument, because you're appealing to authority, and and because you're saying it's okay for me to do something in 2017 because of something that the UN said in 1948, and they've already condemned and they've also condemned what you're doing now. So you're kind of using somebody. So you're making your own argument that even though they've condemned what you're doing,
no,
but you don't have to listen to them is right, but saying that it's okay because they said it was okay at the same time.
No, what I'm saying is that in order to understand what we're doing here, okay, you need to start from the beginning. Okay, in 1947, Israel has received the permission to establish a state. What happened afterwards? There are you need two for a tango. Okay, they started a war in 1948, which led to something. Then in 1967, they were about to start a war with Israel. Everybody knew that. Okay, there was a war. Israel won that war in 6 days. We won. Okay, then in 1980 something, Lebanon started a war with Israel. Israel won. In 2000 and something, they started Intifada. Israel won.
Okay, well, I know it can be argued that you started all those wars.
No, we didn't. And if
Egypt didn't have an airplane off the ground in 1967.
If you claim that, that's a conspiracy. But what?
It's not a conspiracy. It's documented. Egypt didn't even have a plane off the ground. There's two sides to every story. I mean, you're the person who this is the person who always points to the other side. I mean, their side of it is that they didn't have a plane off the ground. You attacked them first. You bombed their military before they had it.
Because everybody knew, and at that time, everybody knew that they were about to attack Israel, and everybody knew that. Israel wasn't blamed for attacking first at that point, because everybody.
Well, you said they started a war, and you started because you just said yourself you attacked first. That's not a conspiracy. You attacked first. You started the war.
First, yes.
I couldn't shoot somebody, and I can't use that as an offense in court that I shot them because they threatened to kill me.
Well, in war, you need to do whatever it takes to save your people. But what everybody knows clearly, and you can, even in Wikipedia, which is, not an academic site, you can read and you understand that everybody knew that Israel was about to be attacked by all the countries around. People here were terrified. They were about to leave the country, and there were jokes talking about whoever leaves first, whoever leaves last should shut down the electricity.
Well, maybe the USS Liberty could have given some better answers, but you attacked it.
Well, the war didn't start at the moment we attacked Egypt. The war started way before. Do you think they were surprised?
I know it started in 1947.
Moving troops to the border of a country is an aggressive way to I mean, it's aggressive act. You know, if Mexico started moving troops to the borders of America, I would have expected from any sovereign country to attack back, because that's an aggressive act in every country. In Russia, wherever you see troops.
It's not aggressive. I mean, that's not aggressive to take a protective stance. I can't use that in an argument that they took a stance that was.
Well, clearly what we did was a very good thing, because it saved a lot of people. So what did you say? What would you suggest?
That's you're not. Who did it save? You don't know. We don't know that. I'd heard a lot of people, and one of the reasons that people claim that the USS Liberty was attacked was because they claimed that there were a lot of war crimes going on, and that people were just kind of soldiers who had. Well, they were saying the soldiers. The allegation is that the soldiers who had surrendered were slaughtered.
Well, they claim a lot of things. Most of them are lies. So you should just read history, and not to be so biased by the media and the hate toward the Jewish state.
This isn't there. What now? You're going ad hominem. Now you're just trying to call me names.
It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter to you which facts I mentioned, because you know something, and
I haven't heard any fact. I just heard these illogical reasons on why you think it's okay. And I mean, I would probably, if I were you, I'd probably feel the same way. But
what I said,
as an American, I
heard a lot of logical things that you said that are so hypocritic and so biased. As for they're just using rockets.
I am biased toward the Palestinians. I'm not gonna refute that. But I mean, I have foundations and for my argument.
It's okay to be biased. It's okay to be biased. It's just not okay to base your theory on lies. Historic.
My theory isn't based on lies. I haven't told us what have I lied about.
It denies historic facts that led us to this.
What facts?
Well, what
you attacked?
I'm going to tell you that the whole situation at the moment is not because Israel established a state in 1947. It's just because something led to something, and Palestinians and the Arabs here had a lot of things. I mean, they had a big part in it. So you're blaming.
I'm not starting the story in the middle. You attack first, and you confiscated that.
Wait a second. Let me just finish the sentence. So what you're saying is everything Israel is doing is not okay. But what Palestinians do is because they don't have a choice. Well, they did have a choice, and they do still have a choice. I'm not saying that that we're not going to establish a Palestinian state. It's just that what I'm saying is Israel has a state. Israel is way more powerful than Palestinians. All they need to do is just to lay down their weapons and to show us that they want to coexist. They do not want to coexist. What you're saying and what they say is that the Israeli existence in the region is not okay. It's occupation, although it's not. Okay.
I'm sure that some of them really would like to make peace. I'm sure that I'm going to say 50%. I don't really have a number. I'm just going to guess. Well, that's kind of been the understanding from what I've seen before, so that's why I'm pulling that number. I'm going to say that half of the Palestinians actually do want peace with you. You're just kind of using the ones that don't as an excuse, and that's a to-quote argument because
an excuse for what?
You're saying that because some of the Palestinians, it's not all of them, it's some of them, and that's important for me to point out, because they do not want peace with you. It's okay to be at war with them.
To do what? What does it?
I didn't say it was okay for them to harm you. I just said that because they don't want peace, that you think it's okay for them to be at war with you, and that's pretty much what you said.
No, nobody's in war with them. No, Israel doesn't.
You're in a declared state of war, obviously.
No, we didn't declare a war against Palestinians. The only war we had was with Hamas, okay, and they're not occupied, but whatever. we didn't declare war. They started a war with Israel. They started.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna control the aspect of someone's life and
We do not
make them go through checkpoints and all that, you're at war with them.
we do
It's
not
a
control.
military.
We do not control their lives. Israel is not.
If I had to go through a checkpoint just to get to work and all
No,
this
they
stuff,
don't
then you're
get to
controlling my
work
life.
from Gaza. You're mixing the whole things because you don't know how it works.
Well, I'm talking. See, that's the other thing is that you have these 4 territories, and you always say, "Oh, that's not true in this territory," as opposed when when someone's talking about the other territory. And then people, it's always this plea to ignorance because people don't understand the situation.
Well, clearly you don't. First of all, okay, because I live here with the Palestinian people. Okay, Palestinian people who drive the same transportation with me. Okay, they work in Israel. Okay. This is how it goes.
Can the Palestinians in Jerusalem can they ride the same bus with you, or can they sit in the same seat next to you?
Of course. What did you think? What did you think?
My understanding was that they had not only had to ride on the back of the bus like in the Jim Crow South, but it was actually kind of gated and all this stuff.
That's a lie. You can come to Israel and see yourself. Because in Jerusalem they have the right to they have not only that they have the right to work wherever they want. And first of all, by the way, about the colony, Jews are not allowed to live among Arabs, right? They're not allowed, but they do live in Jewish neighborhoods in Jerusalem. Okay, they drive the same transportation. They receive money from national service because they do have the right to claim citizenship, but they choose not to. Okay, in Jerusalem, equality. We drive same transportation. We work at the same places. They get my money that I pay for taxes in Jerusalem. Okay, West Bank, what you call West Bank, is a Judea and Samaria. We live along each other. Here they live in their village. I live in the city, which also has Arabs in it. We have a university that is full of Arabs, Israeli Arabs. We live here. Okay, we drive same transportation. They can sit wherever they want. Drivers are Arabs and Jews the same. Okay, equality. Okay, where did you say Golan Heights? Also, they have citizenship. Same rights as Israelis. The only authority that started a war with Israel is Gaza, and we're not occupying Gaza. So,
but you are, because it's blockaded. That's an occupation.
It's not an occupation.
The fishermen can't even catch their fish.
It's partly blockaded, and it's blockaded only for things that Hamas can use to attack Israel with. Concrete, mostly. Everything else, free. They get.
Just because you're not inside of it doesn't mean that it's not occupied. If someone's blockaded, it's occupied.
It's blockaded because Israel needs to secure its borders. Of course, if we did let them build the tunnels, they would have attacked us. Would you want us to commit a suicide?
Well, that you're going too pro again. You're saying that because they might harm you, that it's okay. I mean,
they might harm us. They harm us every day. They showed interest, I don't
think they really can. I don't think there's really much that they can do.
They declare every day that they want to wipe Israel off the map. Okay, it's not like we don't have.
That's not all the Palestinians.
No, Hamas. I'm not talking.
And when they say that, I mean, I think they're kind of looking at this as like they don't want you to be there. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be there, but that's just their side of it.
We're not in Gaza. We're not blockading them. I mean, we are blockading them, but only for certain things. Okay, only for concrete and weapons. They get electricity from us. They get water from us. Electricity for free, water for free, because they don't pay for them. Not because we're offering them the free electricity and water. It's just that because they don't pay for it. They get medicine. They get treatment when they want to.
Economic opportunity, though. I mean, how can you have an economy under those conditions?
That's blame for because they don't have the economy. Isn't it?
If someone's under a military occupation and they're controlling the goods that come in and out of it, then the economy is definitely going to suffer.
There is no occupation in Gaza. There's only a blockade that controls the weapons and the concrete that gets into.
You're not telling me how a blockade isn't an occupation.
Because it is not. How is it occupied? How is it occupation? When you only want to control the weapons that are getting into, if somebody wants to control their borders, it's occupation.
Yeah, because they're not in control. You are.
What?
They're not in control of their economy or their lives. You
Would
are.
you, so what you're saying is that would be okay, a better solution for the region if we took off the blockade completely, you let them attack Israel. That's what you're asking. What you're asking.
I don't see how they could harm you if you took down the blockade. There wasn't one there until 2007, and it didn't seem to be a problem.
Well, I offered you to come here during the firing of rockets from south and see how primitive they are and how they can't harm us, and why we should pay billions of shekels and dollars in order to keep us safe with the technology instead of just cutting off the weapons.
Well, I
Would you
could use that same argument to tell you that I'm scared that Muhammad Atta is gonna run a plane into my house.
okay? And you should do everything it costs to prevent that event from happening instead of crying over it after it happened. That's very logical to me.
Okay. I was just gonna go after the point of me saying that to begin with before I go to that homonym there is that Muhammad Atta listed the Arab-Israeli conflict as the reason for the attack
So
that happened that day, and also it's really
you really
benefited
think
you.
that's
So I don't understand why you would use an attack against me saying I'm crying about it.
no, I'm not. What?
Well, on 9/11, Benjamin Netanyahu himself said that the events that day benefited Israel, and we went to war with Iraq, we went to war with Afghanistan, and we're probably going to be at war with some other countries there soon, in Libya. I don't want to forget Libya. I'm sure that I'm forgetting something there, but yeah.
What are you saying? That we initiated the attacks on the 9/11? We took part in it.
Well, I'm saying that Muhammad Atta, I'm just going to stick to the official story, and that's that Muhammad Atta listed that as his reason. So I'm using blowback here. I'm using the argument of blowback, saying that there have been consequences to our actions, which is important because it kind of goes back on topic to why we don't benefit.
That is just so sick. I don't even know how to react to this.
Well,
Seriously.
I mean, like I already told you, it's that is the official story. It is documented that
Well,
Muhammad Atta
jihad doesn't have
listed the conflict as his primary motivation, and it's
jihad.
also documented. I think I even already posted on Facebook the note that was found with anthrax that said "Death to Israel, Death to America."
Jihad doesn't need a reason to attack. It happens everywhere in the
They
world.
need a reason. They're not. I mean, no one is that malicious to just go harm somebody for no
Well,
reason. It might not be. It might not make a lot of sense to us why it's a good reason, but to them it does.
well, let me ask you a question. What you're saying now is that Muhammad Atta attacked you because of the occupation and the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. So,
Yes.
what would explain the Islamic terror prior to 1967 here in the region? Why did they kill Jews?
Well, because you were there in 1947 and even before that,
Oh,
and
oh,
not
yes.
and not in the capacity that you were before, not indigenously that you had began migrating there
Well,
at that time. And actually, when you migrated there were terrorist factions that conducted terrorist attacks on
and it
Palestinians.
doesn't and it doesn't
And you've
seem
conducted terrorist attacks, like I said,
and
with
it
the
doesn't
Levant
seem
affair.
fair to you, and it doesn't seem unfair to you that after the UN resolution and the international law that you're now using in your favor in order to blame Israel, they didn't, which they didn't respect, and despite the UN resolution, they attacked Israel. That's okay.
I'm not saying it's okay for anyone to attack you. You keep going back to this tu
Murder
quo
is
argument.
not reasons to murder. They just murder, and then if they want, they can they can explain it with something, but it's not the reason. That's not the reason. You are a kafir, and they would have killed you both. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them if
Well,
you're.
I don't think Muhammad Atta would have been motivated to do that day. I mean, he did have another reason.
So if you really believe that, then seriously,
Well, I know that's what he said. I mean, how am I not to believe that? That's what he said. My computer's going to die
well,
if I don't get
they
it
say a
plugged
lot of
in.
things. They say a lot of things. They can also say that the reason why the guy who killed the guys in the how do you call it, the no, what's the name of that club that was the terror attack, and where was it, in Florida or something, in a
Well,
club.
I'm not talking about ISIS. I'm talking about Muhammad Atta, and
Well, it's
ISIS is fighting on your side in Syria right now.
the
They're
same
fighting against Assad. So they're
It's the same reason. They can tell you whatever they want. They don't need a reason to go and kill you. You're a kafir. Okay, they're fighting you just like the way they fight us. And the fact that he said that was what initiated him, you can believe him, you cannot. But I promise you, okay, I can put money on that, okay, that he would have killed you even if there was no conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. Because they don't need a reason to kill. They kill because they want to kill. They want to fight you. And they can tell you whatever they want.
well, he said that was his reason.
Okay,
So
I can tell you that I go to kill somebody because my grandmother was attacked by an Arab.
it doesn't. That wouldn't be okay either.
Is
I'm
that
just saying. I mean
justified?
that I can document these terror attacks that come here that I'm supposed to. I mean, we haven't seen this in a long time, but it used to come on TV like we're under code red or code orange, or Columbus almost got attacked the other day. Someone's gonna blow up the mall on Columbus. I remember all that stuff was going on. So I remember like we were supposed to be under fear too, um, and I know that, I mean, that's one of the things that was used, used to kind of justify how it was good for Israel as well. It's like, well, now you guys know what it's like for. Yeah, I mean, there have been consequences against Americans. I mean that's
Have
just one too. I mean,
consequences?
we were
What
attacked. You attacked
does
us. You machine gun our lifeboats.
what does have consequences against Americans, and the terror, the worldwide terror, is just only the terror itself. That is, you need jihad to be demolished. Okay, everywhere in the world. That's the only thing that will have consequences on Americans and will stop the terror. It has
Well, I mean,
nothing.
I mean, the answer to that question is I wish we could just kind of, I wish we could just pull out of this, but at this point, it's probably not going to be that easy. Um,
Well, you're blaming Israel for every concept in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and you're ignoring the Palestinian part in this conflict as well, saying
well,
that
you've dominated the entire time, though. So I mean, you can't.
because we're a sovereign state.
But they don't have a means to fight back. They don't have. They can't do it. I mean, you're
Oh,
controlling how many calories they eat a day. They don't have.
what
They don't have a Second Amendment. They don't have a right to weapons. They don't have a military. They don't even have a unified
Why do you
government.
need a fight? Why do you need a fight? We suggested them 3 times. 98% of the territories, we suggested them to establish the state. They rejected it, and then they
Well,
rejected.
even Jimmy Carter has debunked that as being a bad deal. And honestly, I mean, Yasser Arafat probably
Only good deal would be
would have won eventually had he not mysteriously died.
well, and only a good deal when it comes to you or Jimmy Carter or whoever would be when Israel is being weakened by a hostile state near it. We don't have the right to exist securely here in the region.
That was the war. That might have been the war for independence. I mean, I'm not gonna say that was just, but that would be the war for independence.
Well, we had a war for independence and we won it. And the Arabs rejected the resolution. So who are you blaming for it?
You didn't give them a good deal to begin with, so it's kind of, it doesn't make sense that you would
So
say. I mean, you're using a red herring. You're saying because of A, because of B, but there's no conclusion to be drawn that if it wasn't a good deal, that they should agree to it.
you're look, whatever I say, you say that Israel is not okay and it wasn't a good deal. We didn't offer that deal. Israel has been established by the UN resolution and the international law. What happened afterwards led to another, okay? But there are two sides of this conflict, and this, I mean, two sides for this conflict. There's a Palestinian, there's Israeli. I mean, you can't ignore the Palestinian.
Well, I definitely think that there's two sides. I just don't think that saying that there's a war that's not a justification. Like I said, that's a U2 argument, and that's considered logically infallible. But listen, I'm having some technical problems. I'm sure you noticed. We've been doing this for a couple hours now. I think we can agree to disagree, and I hope that we could possibly talk about this some more in the future.
Let me just say one sentence, okay? There, just like you said, that there is no justification for Israel to attack somebody who does something wrong. Okay, there's no justification for the Palestinians to attack, which something that you are actually ignoring and saying that it's okay. No, they're using a primitive weapons. They're just, they did that because they did something wrong. You justified it, so you're just a hypocrite. But whatever,
Well, I do have some bias toward their side. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole problem, because you're not objective, and you're not seeing the facts, historical facts, and trying to.
The thing is, I know the facts, and you don't know how hard it was for me to even believe this was going on at first, and how much research I did to try to.
Enough. Clearly, you don't know the facts. Clearly, so what I'm telling you is the only way you can resolve this whole issue for yourself is just to come to Israel and see it yourself, because what you're saying is mostly 90% of it is either twisted facts, twisted reality that you see, okay, or just not correct. But I'm sorry.
I'm seeing it as an outsider, because I'm not as an Israeli or a Palestinian. So I'm an American. I'm seeing it as an outsider, and my dog in the fight would be that I'm the person paying for it.
Okay. Well, as I said, you're more than welcome to come here and see it yourself and see if the reality that you're basing your theory on is correct or not.
Sure. I hope that maybe we can do that, and I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate your offer as well.
Okay, I hope to talk to you about some other issues in the future.
I think that would be great, and I hope you have a good evening. And thank you again.
Bye-bye.